10 Things Worth Buying. Once you have some money, unlike his usual videos about what to avoid spending on, the creator flips the script here and shares 10 things he thinks are genuinely worth purchasing once you have the cash to spare. 1. Riskier, higher upside investment. Before trying anything advanced, the creator stresses that people should first get the basics right, building an emergency fund and a solid index fund base. Only once that foundation exists does it make sense to experiment with money you could afford to lose. He recalls an old stunt where he invested blindfolded in a random stock, which happened to be Samsung, a bet that's since grown roughly fivefold. He's quick to note that individual stocks carry real risk and can just as easily fall as rise, but picking carefully improves your odds. Beyond stocks, he's also a fan of tangible alternative assets. As a car enthusiast, he shares a personal story of buying and reselling a classic Ford Fiesta years ago, noting that had he kept it, its value would have grown roughly tenfold by today. He extends this to watches, wine, and art, pointing out that these can appreciate over time while also being things you can actually use and enjoy, unlike a number on a screen. 2. Buying back your time. He points out that the average household spends several hours a week on cleaning alone, adding up to nearly a month of full days each year. That time could instead go toward a business or side project. The same logic applies to other chores: cooking, gardening, dog walking, driving, and so on. To decide whether outsourcing is worth it, he suggests calculating your effective hourly rate, your annual income divided by hours worked per year. If you can pay someone less than that rate to do a task for you, it's usually worth delegating so you can spend your time on higher value work. 3. Books. He calls this the cheapest but highest return item on the list. For a small cost, you get access to years of someone else's hard-won experience. He shares that despite struggling in school and having dyslexia, a friend's gift of a biography about Richard Branson changed his outlook completely. Learning that a fellow dyslexic Brit with no qualifications became one of the world's most successful entrepreneurs was deeply motivating. He recommends 4 books depending on where someone is in their journey. 1 that challenges conventional financial advice in favor of building wealth quickly. 1 on building a business that can run independently of its owner. 1 on simple long-term investing that quietly outperforms professional fund managers. And 1 classic on interpersonal skills and influence, since relationships ultimately matter enormously. 4. Choosing the right partner. He acknowledges this pick might raise eyebrows, but argues that a life partner is one of the biggest factors in long-term financial success. He recounts dating his now-wife while still broke, warning her early on that pursuing his goals would require sacrifice, and being surprised when she stuck around, supported him, and even helped in his business as it grew. He cites research suggesting married people accumulate significantly more wealth per person than those who remain single, with wealth continuing to compound the longer a marriage lasts, with the obvious caveat that divorce reverses these gains. His takeaway: choose a partner carefully, since it has real financial consequences. 5. Better mentors and teachers. He criticizes traditional schooling for teaching history and math, while ignoring anything about money or entrepreneurship. His own turning point came from an unplanned friendship with a businessman he met at a local flying club, who opened his eyes to the idea of starting something of his own. He references research tracking children over decades, finding that those with mentors went on to earn considerably more than those without. The good news, he says, is that mentorship is more accessible than ever, thanks to podcasts, talks, and free educational content online, which is part of why he started making videos himself. The best advice he ever received was to develop a high-income skill. For him, that meant carpentry, which let him design and sell his own products outside a traditional job. He notes that today's high-income skills are increasingly digital: video editing, copywriting, branding, website development, or AI-driven automation, and gives an example of using AI-built websites to generate extra revenue for businesses in exchange for solid monthly fees.